My name is Joanna McNurlen, and the PAD taught me to fail.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the PAD podcast. My name is Rob Morgan. We are coming off of a very exciting alumni weekend here. It's late April 2026, and got to meet a lot of you. I'm very excited to say that I met a lot of you at the tour of the Edison and Hotchner studio theaters, but we spent the most time in a lovely way in the handprint hallway, which was great to watch you all live your best past, I guess we might say. I am so excited to bring to you this next episode of the PAD podcast with my guest, Joanna McNurlen. Joanna is a manager of technical architects for Salesforce. She is also a teacher now. She joins the ranks of academia with the rest of us. She teaches change management and innovation at NYU now. She lives in New York City. She does a lot of traveling with her job. We get to talk about that. She talks about beginning at WashU and her improv comedy pre-orientation program. We just have a delightful time talking about her time at WashU. If you need one, Joanna is an expert on focus groups about constipation in Paramus, New Jersey. Seems like a niche skill, but she's the person you need if you need to talk about constipation in Paramus, New Jersey. It is a delightful, funny podcast episode. I am so delighted to bring this to you. Also very, very grateful, as I am to all the alums, for giving me the time to share your stories with the world. With that, I'll stop talking. She'll start talking. Enjoy. All right, my guest today on the PAD podcast, I'm very excited to talk about. We've interacted on a couple of occasions before, is Joanna McNurlen, who is a technical architect with Salesforce. Do I have that right, Joanna?
Oh, I manage technical
You
architects, Rob.
manage technical.
I'm a highfalutin kind of lady.
I love it.
Thank
How
you.
do you isn't managing architects like herding cats? Isn't there
Very,
something?
very much so. But they're smart cats. They know what they're doing. It's a treat.
Nice. Well, I like to say to our four listeners that that most are proud alums of the PAD. Are you a proud alum of PAD at WashU?
Oh, 100%. You go and touch my handprint right now. Every time I'm back on St. Louis, I high five that thing.
You got a handprint on the wall. Everybody
Oh yeah.
does.
Oh yeah. It's the best.
It'll be here till the next tornado passes
Darn.
through.
Oh,
Sorry, I mean to
R.I.P. Forest Park
bring the.
trees. We're fine. We're fine.
Well, I'm chatting with Joanna here. It's late May, so the end of the semester is done, and we're kind of early summer. And I'm just so glad to have you on the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. You have had a lot of my friends on the podcast, so it's exciting to be able to contribute in maybe a slightly different way.
And you're so kind about paying it forward. I asked you to be on a sort of a career advising committee a couple years ago, was it? And you immediately agreed, and you were
Oh my
such a valuable
gosh.
resource to our students. So I really appreciate how you do that. But I would be curious to know how WashU in general just landed on your radar. Where'd you grow up? Tell us a little about your childhood.
Well, listeners won't be able to see this, but I am wearing a proud Iowa t-shirt. I'm
Oh,
from Des
there it
Moines,
is.
Iowa. Yep. Oh, there it is. Flyover country. We love it. So from Des Moines, Iowa, I loved growing up in the Midwest. For folks who aren't from the Midwest, I tell them you take any suburb in the US, and that's kind of where I'm from. We had our Whole Foods, we had our Trader Joe's, we had this typical like homecoming dance and football games, Friday night lights, very Americana kind of stuff.
Totally.
And as we being me and my parents, we were looking at schools. I I wasn't ready for college. I was, top of whatever in high school, and I knew very much what I was doing, and I felt proud of what I had achieved. And going into college was this big, scary world, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And my mom found WashU, so St. Louis, Des Moines, Iowa, about 6.5 hour drives, depending on whether I was in my speeding ticket era or not. And I visited it and I loved it. We looked at Vandy, we looked at Northwestern, but WashU had a really kind student population, is what I thought.
Hmm.
And I fell in love immediately. So I was lucky to get in early decision. I went there and I was very happy. And one of the things I got involved in first was a pre-orientation program called Campus Comedy. So I know WashU doesn't do pre-orientation programs anymore, but what it was at the time was a couple of days before orientation, freshmen were invited to come and do almost like a mini summer camp for 3 days where they could pursue their interests. And so there was one for the radio station KWER, there was one for leadership, there was one for Habitat for Humanity. And I still remember my dad being in his office pointing to the PRIO website saying, "Hey, Joanna, you want to look at this?" And it was for improv comedy. So I had been involved in my high school improv troupe. There's an organization where you can compete in Iowa, and I was very active in that, and I loved that community. So for me, campus comedy was a great way to get into the improv scene very early. It also helped bolster me into Mama's Pot Roast, where I eventually became the president, and that was something where I got to know other people who were involved in the arts, and that also sort of introduced me to the PAD. I got involved with the PAD. Yeah, sorry, Rob. I'll turn
No,
to
I
you
was
for
curious,
questions.
was your
Yeah.
intent when you, and I always hate to ask this question because I don't really like this question asked of 17-year-olds anyway when they're
No, that's
leaving high
fine. Yeah.
school. But did you intend on having a major or minor in drama? I mean,
No,
your
I
area
wanted a
is Olin business.
salary. It is Olin
Yeah.
business. So
Yeah.
one of the things I struggled with at Olin was I felt I was surrounded by a lot of Patabronias who just wanted to work at Goldman or Deloitte, and I really struggled to fit in there.
Yeah.
And I liked the classes, I liked the things I was learning, but that creative itch was not satisfied. So improv gave me a lot of that. I did a play with Thyrsis, the student organization called Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind. And through that, I realized, wow, the people in here are my community. And they were also very involved in the PAD. So I started getting even more involved in the PAD I think, late sophomore and then junior, senior year. So I took all the acting courses, I took musical theater, and I took movement.
Wow.
I think I even tried to get a minor, but by then it was senior year and I needed like TCS or something and I couldn't figure it out, so it doesn't
Right.
matter.
But
But
to clarify, your undergraduate
yeah.
division was Olin, correct?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
marketing degree and now
Nice.
I code and sell AI. So we can talk about how that all worked out.
I love
But
it.
for me, the PAD was my escape. It was my release.
Hmm.
And I originally pursued that just because I felt at home there. People joked that I was always in the PAD lounge, like that was my spot. I came back after graduation and I still just stayed there because I was comfortable
I
there.
think I remember you here. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the place.
Yeah.
But I eventually learned like it wasn't just an escape. I was learning a heck of a lot more than I thought I was. So the
Yeah. When
PAD
did
for
you
me,
learn that? What date and time?
you joke. I can tell you
Really?
like basically. So Anna Pileggi, gosh darn Anna Pileggi, that woman is a goddess, and she consensually and respectfully broke me. And what what I mean by that, like you look at a lot of students at WashU, and me as one of them, you went to high school, you were probably like award this, ribbon that, top of this, top of that, and coming to WashU, you maybe haven't failed before. So the PAD taught me how to fail. And
Mm,
I still remember these acting scenes in Anna's class where I cried in once in each of her separate classes. And again, this is not a knock on Anna. This is a
sure.
celebration of getting me to be vulnerable, to be uncomfortable, and to eventually and to receive criticism. As
Mm.
somebody who was voted teacher's pet in high school, I have the yearbook to prove it. I didn't know how to fail and I
Mm,
didn't know what it was like to struggle really. And in my classes excuse me, in my more traditional, my major classes, I was still succeeding pretty well and that was comfortable. But acting classes really pushed me out of my comfort zone. They taught me how to receive criticism and to have it not just weigh on you, but to take it and to learn from it. And people, including my parents, would always ask, like, "Well, why'd you spend so much time in that darn drama program?" Like, I learned more in the drama program than I learned in half of my business classes because it helped me evolve into a stronger communicator, a stronger person, and just a stronger, like, eventually business person, just by the ability to learn how to take feedback and to learn how to grow from it.
mm, wonderful. Was there and I joke about a specific date and time, but in a sense, I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you entered WashU, again, all in business,
Yeah, yeah.
and you obviously already had an interest in improv and acting and that type
Mhm.
of thing. But did you always think of it at that phase early on, WashU, maybe first year WashU, as a kind of something fun to do, kind of a dalliance of sorts. And I don't mean to minimize its value,
No,
but
no.
at what point did you realize, hey, this is helping my other half of my major here?
So my mom always, I won't say was frustrated, but I remember a conversation we had where she felt that all I did was talk about improv. I'd get home from for breaks or what have you, or we'd be on the phone and all she'd hear about was improv and theater this, theater that. And I think she was worried I'd be like living on a stoop just saying, "Ah, I'll perform for you for $1." And I
Sure.
still do that, but that's just my fun. No,
Right.
my so there was kind of that worry from their side. And to me, I never saw it as that. I always saw it as like, no, this is my release. And one of the things I've always liked about WashU as a school is it celebrates the whole person. You can have a very left-brained person who also has a very strong right brain side. And the ability to take classes across schools supports that. And the ability to get involved in so many organizations supports that. So for me, I needed to scratch that performance itch. Still in my life in New York, I need to scratch that performance itch. If I'm not in an improv class or if I'm not building something creative, don't feel whole. I don't think I was able to articulate that as well back then, but I
Right.
knew I needed it because
Right.
if I was just going through building financial accounting spreadsheets, I would be unalive.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's great. So you walked away from WashU with a degree in business, in marketing, you said?
Oh, in marketing, magna cum laude. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Any minors? You said you tried to get a drama minor, but there was a
I had a
lot going
minor in
on.
Spanish
Spanish.
and
Okay.
yeah, so enough where I can travel to Spanish speaking countries and not embarrass myself,
There you go.
not enough to know all the fun swear words my boyfriend who works in kitchens does know.
Gotcha. Um, so then I think a lot of students sort of see the end of their, and it comes up quickly, as they
Mm.
often tell me, the end of their senior year as kind of a
Ugh,
chasm of sorts, a very intimidating, like, oh my God, what do I do now? There's no structure to my life. There's no
it's
class I'm
awful.
supposed
It's
to be at on
awful.
Tuesday, Thursdays. How did you manage that particular part of your life?
I didn't. It was awful. No, the most stressful thing was, oh, so what are you doing after you graduate? And
Yes,
just every time, like knife into my heart, just I don't know, I don't know, I don't know.
sure.
I, at the time, I wanted to go into advertising because I thought it had that good left brain, right brain mix of, okay, I can do businessy things and also have some sort of lens of creativity. I eventually learned that what that meant was debating what color of purple to make a Miralax bottle for 4 hours, and I said, no, thank you. But if you ever want to hear about focus groups in Paramus, New Jersey about constipation, I'm your gal.
Right.
So
Who doesn't?
I know it was
Yeah.
a rare rip roaring good time. So where I ended up, just sharing a little bit of personal stuff, at the end of college, my parents were also going through a divorce. So it was
Mm,
like major, what am I doing with my life? What is
sure.
my family doing with their life? So
Right.
I wasn't doing great. And I had an internship offer in my hometown in Des Moines. And it was in advertising and I was excited about it. And I thought, okay, let's just start out here. We'll see how this goes. And it was going well. And then I had talked to a New York based advertising firm at a career fair ages ago, founded by a WashU alumnus. And I had applied for their internship, but they didn't want to bring me all the way out to New York without the ability to give me an offer. So they said, look, we're politely going to decline working with you, and totally respected that decision.
Hmm.
Then they had a full opening open up and they called me. I interviewed over the phone and they gave me an offer.
Wow.
So July 19th, year redacted, I was standing out walking for lunch and I got the call and I called my mom. I called Sasha Diamond next, my friend from WashU. And then I called the rest of my family to say, hey, I got this job in New York. So that became my life. I moved to New York. I was excited to have all this creativity around me. I saw every Broadway show I could afford, and that
Wow.
kind of kickstarted my career.
Amazing. So as you were after graduation, basically, is when this all started for you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I acknowledge like I got lucky.
Yeah.
It that doesn't happen to anyone, but I also believe, and we can talk about this later, I do think you make your own luck to an extent.
Hmm.
I had gone to the career fairs. I had like filled out a very silly form and put my own personal stamp on it. I was memorable with
Yeah.
the interviews for the internship.
Of
So,
course. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I was lucky in terms of timing, but also
Yeah.
I did I did work a little bit.
Yeah, I sometimes tell students in my classes and the creativity one in particular that in a sea of suits, I want them to be the yellow bloomers. I want them to sort of stick out and,
Yes.
learning a little bit on how to be creative, how to be as you have been comfortable in your own skin. You present well.
Yeah.
I'm sure your phone interview, I think you said it was, went really well because just of all that training and all that sort of like, look, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm approachable. I'm funny. All these kinds of things. And not to say that your expertise wasn't where it needed to be either, but the combo is just really just unstoppable, I think. So
I I've
bravo
been
to you.
lucky. Well, thank you. That's very kind. And I know we'll get to talk about this, but I just we're recording this with me coming off a red eye, so I'm extra
Oh,
unfiltered.
sorry.
And no. I planned this. I did this.
Okay.
Um, I was out in San Francisco leading a training for this team that I'm now a leader in, and it is a very technical product and it is tough to learn. And I got some very nice feedback from folks about the way I led training. And
Oh,
apparently I have stands now. I now know what the word stan means. So, but they were talking about how they could tell I worked really hard to make the training engaging, and
yeah.
blessedly they liked my jokes. But I I think that I now take it for granted to get up in front of a crowd of people. I MC the ICCA, the Internet, oh boy, Intercollegiate College Acapella, if that's the acronym. Like
Okay. Yeah.
I emceed that at the 560 Music Center, and that was 2,000 person audience, and that was no big deal because I'm comfortable in front of people. I like being in front of people, and whether you are a developer who only presents to maybe your manager or a small team, or you end up being a CEO of a company who has to run a big conference, that skill of presenting in front of people, the PAD helped me so much with that. And I think
Yeah.
it's valuable no matter what career path you pursue.
Absolutely. Not sort of unnoticed by me at least is, even Steve Jobs, ever one of his
Yeah.
product rollouts was a highly rehearsed product
Hmm.
rollout, and the use of we'll get into maybe visualization of data and things like that. The use, what was it, 1,000 songs in your pocket? That was all that he
Yeah.
had to say
10,000
about it.
songs.
10,000 songs. I had the number wrong.
No, it's okay. I'm
But
in tech. It's
something
my job to fight for that sort of stuff.
but that's a highly tailored catchphrase that is all
Hmm.
you need to know about when it came to, and now we're dating ourselves, but it came to
Ah, it's fine.
iPods. But I feel like there is, again, it's a bit of a secret sauce that I think our area provides. And thankfully, you're a guest that is not currently, well, you are on the side, should I say, but you're not
Yeah,
like,
but
you're not
it
kind
is not
of,
my money maker.
you're not a Sasha Diamond. You're not on TV all the place. So
Nobody can be Sasha Diamond.
who can really?
I know.
Previous podcast guest Sasha Diamond. Quick plug. That was a great interview. But anyway, so that's fantastic. So you got to New York after immediately after college, really, and
Yeah.
you've been there ever since. Is that correct?
I have. I thought, okay, I'll stay for 2 years just to see how I like it. And then it stuck. I
Sure.
tried to make, and I'm really proud of myself. I tried to make the most of those 2 years. So every single touristy New York
Yeah.
experience I wanted to do, I did. So I felt like I made the most of it. And I realized I like the hustle and bustle of a city. I like being able to just walk outside and not know where the day will take you and find
Yeah.
something fun to do. I'm
What a
also,
great
oh,
city.
if it's lovely. I'm very lucky to be able to still live
Sure.
here.
Sure. Sorry, you were saying as well.
I don't remember. I
It's the red eye.
blame the red eye. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So now you moved into a phase of your life where kind of post graduation where again, much like, and it may be an unfair parallel, but much like school, you're a marketing person in New York
Yeah.
City, but are you then also practicing improv on the side? Are you doing that kind of thing?
Yeah. So there's another WashU alumnus named Rick Andrews, and he was less involved with the PAD, but he now either runs or used to run the training center at an improv theater called the Magnet.
Mm.
And so I took every improv class I could there. That was again, they're like $500. And when you're fresh in the city, $500 is a lot. So
It
I would
is,
like
yes.
save. And so like every quarter I would have a big purchase. And that big purchase was usually an improv class.
Wow.
And sometimes that was a little tough for me because you had all of these people, not all, but a good chunk of people doing improv because they wanted to be on Saturday Night Live
Mm.
or doing improv because like improv was their thing and that was their life and wanted to make careers of it. And I was my like corporate shill person who just wanted to play pretend with a bunch of adults for a few hours every week. That's ebbed and flowed. Recently at the Second City, I have been part of a wonderful, wonderful group where it's a mix of people from all sorts of different backgrounds, including fellow corporate shills like myself. And we have this wonderful relationship where we all are committed to this and love what we're doing, and we all have additional lives beyond it. And for me, that has clicked much more than any improv community I've been part of thus far. But different communities go in different waves, and that's been
Yeah.
my journey.
And I've done some research on you. You were also interviewed by Colin Mockery. I saw a clip of that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Sorry, I'm laughing because the interview has a very like not appropriate question in it. It's so I was on a Tinder date, like some app date, and we went to see Colin Mockery perform.
Yes,
And they did the day in the life where they pick an audience member and interview you. And Colin Mockery, like I grew up watching Whose Lines It Anyway.
of
He
course.
is my comedy hero. And
Wow.
I raised my hand, they picked me, he interviewed me, and it was if we think like top five New York moments, that is up there. And
Ah,
what a
awesome.
wonderful entertainer, what a supportive environment, and kudos to my Tinder date for recording a video that I can now have forever, even though he was not.
Oh, gotcha. He did not survive the evening,
He,
but the video
oh,
remains.
he survived evenings.
Oh, he
Just
did. Okay.
just I love Jacob, my partner.
Of course. Shout out to Jacob.
Shout out to Jacob.
So I'm very curious now. Like, so how did you go from those early days, those early? I mean, I'm jumping back maybe from the
Yeah, of
Colin
course.
Mockery interview, but
I
how, you're now working for Salesforce and you have for some time. Is that right? Um,
have.
and what kind of? Again, I'm very interested in the sort of blend of who you are and how that applies to your
Yeah,
work.
like how the hell did somebody with a marketing degree end up managing a team of technical architects?
Yes,
So, um,
whoever they are,
yeah, whatever that is, whatever Salesforce is.
which I do want to find out what the definition of.
Oh, we will
Okay,
get
okay,
there.
gotcha.
So, I was at that marketing advertising job again, running focus groups in Paramus, New Jersey about constipation, and I was kind of
Is that a
going
real
through.
thing? Are you making that up?
No,
That's
it is
real?
a real thing. I built slide decks about enemas, which is my new band name.
Oh,
But back then I was feeling that a lot of the people in my role I had come from WashU. WashU is an intellectually rigorous school, and everybody around you is smarter than you at something. And I
mm-hmm.
loved that being able to be curious about people's interests and being challenged by what people brought to any conversation I had with them. I don't know if it's advertising. I don't know if it was this company, but I think kind of advertising in general. The people I was working with tended to have, and this makes me sound like a like not like other girls girl, but they tended to have they didn't want to talk about sci-fi. They didn't want to talk about improv. They wanted to talk about Beyonce and Real Housewives. Beyonce and Real Housewives are amazing. That is
Sure.
just not what I am interested in, and that is okay. So I
Right.
wanted something that kind of spoke a little bit more to that nerdier side of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I like locked myself in a room with a whiteboard and I started saying, "Well, what do I like? What am I good at?" And I was always kind of the office tech support, and I just loved solving problems. So I thought, okay, tech support, solving problems, technology consulting question mark.
Sure.
So I then pulled up Webstack or whatever the WashU alumni network intranet
Yes.
is, and I just started cold emailing everybody who had consulting in their title. And I sent 50-ish emails and 30 people responded.
Oh,
And
wow.
oh, it's amazing. Like again, I have
I
been
would have
lucky.
never thought it would be that percentage. That's
Me
amazing.
neither. And this is why you mentioned that I pay it forward. It's because so many people did so much for me. And okay, so much. It was a 15-minute Zoom call, but to me, that helped me hone what I wanted to do.
Of
And some of those
course.
conversations turned into interviews or connections that then became interviews. And I got connected with this woman. Her name was Neha Agarwal, and she went to WashU and she worked for a company that did consulting for something called Salesforce.
Mhm.
I had never heard of Salesforce. I realize now I have a Salesforce postcard on my desk that I can hold up on the interview.
This is an audio only interview, but
I
yes,
know, I know. No, it's for the people at home. Just imagine
the Salesforce postcard.
Salesforce. So I said she worked for a consulting company that worked on something called Salesforce, and I had
Yep.
never heard of Salesforce, but I said, let's try it. And they gave me a week, and I built a sample Salesforce system, and they hired me. And so while I was there, I was helping build out Salesforce solutions for companies. Now, backing up, because if I had only been the PAD, I would not know what Salesforce is. What is the grade management system at WashU now? Is it Blackboard? Is it Brightspace?
It's Canvas
Canvas.
in
Okay.
structure. Yeah,
Gorgeous. So Canvas has a profile like a Joanna McNurlen profile, and that
sure.
profile has your classes and probably like your requirements to graduate. Make like imagine it has meal plan, like all that stuff. It is a technical system that has information about you, the student.
Of course.
Salesforce is a technical system that has information about the customer. It is called a
Yeah.
CRM, a customer relationship management system.
Okay.
So most businesses have this idea of a CRM. Salesforce is the leading CRM. So this is where sellers, where service reps, where marketing people will just have information about their customers all in one place. I'm oversimplifying, but that's enough to
No,
go on.
that's
So with that, I started working with that system and I found I liked it. I got involved in there was a product called Wave Analytics. It was Salesforce's data and analytics solution. I found out I liked that. I taught myself JSON. I was just staying up until 4 a.m. beating my head against a wall learning to code because that's what I had to do.
that's amazing.
Oh, it was great. And then within 16 months, I was managing that team. And then that analytics product got to be my through line. I took that to Deloitte, I took that to Spotify, and then Salesforce called me up and said, hey, we've worked with you in the past. We think you should be something called a solution engineer for the data and analytics
Hmm.
product. And I said, no, I like Spotify. And they said, we'll pay you this much. And I said, okay, that sounds great. Um,
Spotify, who?
I know, right? No, again, both great companies.
Of
Spotify
course,
also
yeah,
paid well. I have been very, very lucky.
sure.
So what a solution engineer does in sales, you typically have, oh, I'm going to sell you these 10 widgets. Great, sign a contract, move on. In software sales, you are saying, I'm going to sell you the software, but you have to make sure that software works with a company system. So sometimes you need somebody a little bit more technical who can talk to the technical people and say,
Hmm.
okay, what do you currently have? This is what we have. Here's how we can, if we sell this to you, this is how it would work together and help like uncover the technical how it all works
Got it.
rather than just sales. So that was my role. And I continued on the analytics product. I moved to a more data focused product. And then recently, I moved to a management role where I am now leading that team of more technical sellers. So the people who can go toe to toe with the bearded guys in hoodies who are saying, I hate all users. And my technical architect team can help them understand how our products can make their lives easier, ideally.
I see. So that's what a technical architect is.
Exactly.
Gotcha,
And
gotcha.
and for anyone who's in comp sci who's listening, like we mean architect like architecture diagram. So how does system A, B, C all relate to each other?
Got
That's
it.
very much their wheelhouse.
Got it. And in my research of you, I did try to take some time. Speaking of data analysis, I did try to take some time to watch a YouTube interview of you and a presentation, and you had lots of slides to share and that type of thing. And I calculated the data. I understood about 0%.
Oh no, sorry. That means I'm not doing my job well.
No, no, no. I mean, it just was the kind of thing that these terms were going over my head.
Sure.
But I found that again, just like you just alluded to, you're an engaging person, and
Oh, thank you.
you're the kind of person that I think, leans in your on your background. You have courage. I have to point out, you had courage to write 50 cold emails to people. And I mean, there's so many students that approach me, and they're like, yeah, I really want to work for so and so. And I'm like, well, have you tried to write to them?
Mhm.
No, I'm sure they're too busy. And I'm like, what do you got to lose? There's just
Yeah.
really the email could just never be returned. And is that really
Yeah.
that big a deal if that happens? So,
The worst thing that can happen is somebody says no, or they're
yeah,
just too busy. I have about 10 emails I know I need to respond to from people who are interested in this position I'm hiring for. And I do not think any less of them for applying or
yeah,
for sending me an email saying, hey, I'd love to do this position. It is like I champion people who
yeah.
are comfortable reaching out and saying, this is what I want. Please help me.
Yeah, I mean, the late great Tennessee Williams
Yeah.
showed up for a high school production of Glass Menagerie,
Did
and
he? I didn't
it
know
was
that.
like a real life Waiting for Guffman. Like he's there, and he showed up, and he was blown away by this production of Glass Menagerie, and it was all because somebody decided to ask Tennessee Williams to do that. So
I love that.
yeah, speaking of, well, he didn't graduate WashU. He left in a huff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, probably. People
but
with,
I guess I just try to sort of impose upon students to really have the courage that you had. I want to underline that you
yeah.
had to write 50 cold emails to people, and 30
Yeah.
of them came back, which is insane.
Oh,
That's
it's marketing doesn't get that kind of response, right? Like that's amazing.
I don't
And
think
the
ice cream has that kind of popularity.
no, it should.
It should.
The other piece of advice I give to students who are doing the cold emails, who are doing the kind of 15-minute, hey, I just want to get to know you chat, I can usually tell within about 30 seconds if the person has it. I just saw Gypsy, so that's of course stuck in my head. But there is a focus that happens in people who know what they want that comes across in those interviews. So my advice to people who are doing these for the first time, and these are informational interviews, not like interviews, have something you want. Be able to articulate to the person, here is how you can help me.
Yes. Yep.
In business, they always say like start with the bottom line first. So if you go into a conversation and say, "Hi, Joanna, I really nice to meet you. I would love a referral for this position." Great, I know how to help you. Or, "Hi, Joanna, I am a PhD graduate and I am interested in the music business and I saw you worked at Spotify. What can you tell me about it?"
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is that is not impolite. That is context setting.
Right. And it's wasting no one's time by doing that.
Right.
That
Right.
makes perfect sense. Perfect. Good advice to our four listeners. I can keep
I think
joking
there are going
about.
to be more than four because
No, there's plenty. I'm joking.
I'm sending this to my mom.
Yeah, mom will listen.
Hi, mom.
So I'm so interested to sort of also highlight something about your story there that I think is indicative and exemplary of WashU students, and that is that they're intellectually curious. That
Yes.
it's not just that they're intellectual, but they're also curious. And you were curious enough to take the time, let's face it, in your free time to teach yourself how to code. Like, I assigned a project to some students, and one of them decided to tap himself as the sound designer for this little group, and it was a non-realized production that they were, collaborating on. So everybody had a member as it was assigned a role in the creative team.
Nice.
He got assigned sound designer slash composer, and he ran some sound cues during his presentation, and I'm like, I didn't know that you knew how to do this. And he said, Oh, I didn't. I read the
Oh,
manual like overnight. I read the manual all night and I taught myself how to use whatever software
I
that was.
love that.
And I'm like, this is insane. Like, some
That's
people would
I
just stop at, I don't know how to do this, and so I won't. And
no.
and he was like, well, the manual can download online, and here it is.
Yeah.
So
That's how I'm going to learn QLab. That's because
yeah,
I'm also learning QLab because I'm
yeah.
going to be a musical director someday. But
And that's
um
the kind of student that you were, and the kind of student you today are, I think.
a- and the kind of student I want to hire, or
Right,
just it's hokey to say student of life, but
right,
the
right.
people I love to surround myself with are the ones who like don't know how to do something and they go, "Oh, but how do I do that?"
Right,
Or why does it work this way? And that
right.
can be a double-edged sword sometimes because you have to know when to cut yourself off. And you have to
Yep,
know when to not go down a YouTube rabbit hole or when to say, I shouldn't be spending on time on this. My time is better spent elsewhere. This should wait for or should be delegated to somebody else.
yeah.
But mostly I like to nurture that and more
I love
importantly,
it.
hire
I love
that.
it. Oh, fantastic. So now that's what you're doing now. You're a manager of
Yeah.
technical architects for Salesforce.
Manager of technical architects for Salesforce.
I love
I
it.
know this is a non-visual medium, but I got this title relatively recently, and the very first time it was printed on a name tag, I took that name tag home with me. I was so proud of it.
Nice, nice. Most people just leave it behind, and you're like, "This is going in my
Nope, this is
bag."
mine now. Yes.
Nice. And you get to travel with this role. It sounds like you just got back from San Francisco.
Yeah, so there's a product I happen to know very well. It's called Data Cloud. It's all about taking, so if we're using the Canvas example, it's taking your meal plan data and it's taking your student activities data and it's taking your course data and taking all those systems and putting them together so there's kind of one view of a student.
Uh,
Similar thing with companies. So I know that product really well, and my team needs to learn it better. So I'm going to San Francisco, to Chicago, I'm in New York, and then weirdly Dublin to help
Wow.
people learn more about this.
That's fantastic. Nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice. When do you go to Dublin? I think we've got a number of students that study abroad there.
Oh, fantastic. So I actually have vacation in Italy and they were starting this. They said, "Oh, we're targeting Dublin for this particular date." And I said, I'm in Italy the day before. Do you want me to just stop on over on the way back?" And they said, "Sure."
Just
So
swing by Dublin on the way home from
yeah.
Italy.
So now my boyfriend gets a day in Dublin and
I love it.
he's very excited.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to Amsterdam next week for a
Oh,
conference. Have
fun.
you
What's
ever
the
been?
conference? Just the
It's a
airport.
conference called University Industry and Innovation Network, UIIN. And my
Cool.
colleague, Tu Luscri, who's right downstairs
Okay,
from me
yeah.
right now, Scandalaris Center Director, he's going along with another colleague, Joe Steensma from the Brown School.
So is
Uh,
that innovation kind of like the Stanford Design School type innovation, or is this?
it's connecting as I understand it, and this is my first time at the conference. As I understand it, it's about really kind of how industry can be leveraged in a university environment. So, how do you can connect students to,
Oh,
as I like to say, my teaching philosophy is make hope visible. It's three
yep.
words. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's how do we make hope visible for students? And I'm going to be talking about the creativity class that I teach there on
I
a
love
panel of
that.
folks. But I've never been. I'm very excited. I've designed Diary of Anne Frank twice. And
Okay.
I've never seen Anne Frank's house, so we got tickets to that. So anyway, I digress. This is about not about
No,
me.
it's
There, I kind of want to wrap up, if you don't mind, with asking a
yeah, yeah.
question that I'm going to surprise you with. That
Uh-oh.
we sometimes ask guests on the podcast, and I think it's kind of maybe useful. And that is, if you had a time machine and you can go back to your
Mm.
first year of college, what advice would you whisper in your own ear? Maybe something you should avoid along the way, or a burrito you shouldn't have eaten, whatever. You know what I mean? Like what would you tell yourself if you had any advice for yourself? Although I think you've had a fantastic academic career and future career, of course. What advice would you give yourself?
The majority of my advice would relate to relationships, and in
Mm.
my case, relationships were boys, and
Hmm.
to I don't know how to crystallize it, but like get over the fear. I was
Uh-huh.
a so better answer. I was very much a late bloomer,
Yeah.
and part of that was fear. And I think I could have found myself a little bit earlier, but
Mm.
also that journey took me to the person I am today and to the
Yeah.
wonderful partner I have today. So I
Nice.
don't know if I would change anything, but that is one thing I look back and go, oh, I wonder if it would have been different.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, that's great. And is it fair to say that Anna Pileggi's class, you mentioned her teaching you how to not fear failure as part of her course? Was that
So,
something that
so,
kind
so
of
I got in half the reason I got into acting and the PhD. So more information than you need. The thesis show, The Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind. I did was directed by a gentleman named Dan Tobin. He's a wonderful. I think he has his MFA now and is now a wonderful professor down in Arizona.
Hmm.
But he's phenomenal. And at the time, he was more involved in the PhD. And me being the chameleon lady I am, of course, I assume all of my partner's interests. So I got in the PhD because of him. He spoke very highly of Anna. And so
Nice.
some of that's all wrapped up.
Nice, nice. I love it. I love it. Well, that's a great bit of advice, honestly, to sort
Yeah.
of not to face your fears and, get
Yeah.
over them sooner. And that's hard to do. I think a lot of students show up here with a kind of a laundry list of things that they think they need, which, it's important to start, getting your gen ed requirements out of the way
Yeah.
and take college writing and all that type of thing. But they often don't give themselves or appreciate the fact that they never get to live their first year of college again. That
Yeah.
they should really, and suck the marrow out of life, as they say.
Yeah. And
So,
and I know this might make us go over, but the philosophy behind college I know continues to evolve. And is it intended to help people get jobs or is it intended to help people grow? And
mm,
I think it's a mix. And that probably was part of the disconnect I felt early where Olin was very much we exist to help people find jobs
yes.
and art sci was a little bit more learn about yourself as a
R-
person. And I like a blend of that, and then that
yeah.
just becomes me not being able to choose and having to do everything.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at your life from the outside, but I think it's fair to say that it was that blend that made you such an attractive candidate to Deloitte and Spotify
Oh,
and
thank you.
Salesforce. Do you know what I mean? Like, they gave you a call because they like you, and they like
Yeah.
it's not just about your prowess when it comes to your area of expertise, but
Yeah.
it's just, do I like working with this person? So
Yeah, and you can be yourself in business. You can be
yeah,
funny, you can be silly.
sure.
It's it's so
Can I
much more
send this
rewarding
person
that
to
way.
Dublin and they won't embarrass us?
Yes,
That kind of thing.
exactly. Or will they embarrass us in a fun way?
In a fun
And
way.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on
Oh
the
my gosh,
podcast,
yeah.
Joanna. It's been a
Thank you for
delight.
having me.
Absolutely. Again, I'm very grateful that you pay it forward in a real way for our students. So thank you
No,
for,
thank
for
you. This
continuing to
is
do that.
I have this on a queue now for all my flying. So thank you
Oh,
for
nice.
giving me something new to listen to.
My many thanks to Joanna McNurlen for joining the PAD podcast. If you, and I do mean this, as many of you alums know, if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please reach out to me. I am happy to do an interview. And so we've got so many great alums out there. We've only really scratched the surface about 26 episodes in. So please reach out if that's of interest to you and you'd like to share your story. In the meantime, have a wonderful day and thanks for listening.